recap of the USA Ultimate 2012 College Championships presented by Spin Ultimate. For Sky Magazine, I'm Maya Ziv here with Adam Lerman, Ryan Thompson, and Robyn Fennig. Before we get to the finals, guys, let's recap the tournament. I think one of the biggest trends we saw here this weekend, tons of upsets. Pool C was the only one to go to seed, though in that pool, UBC did take down Michigan, but because of point differentials, the pool did go to seed. Robyn, what were some other upsets that you had your eye on this weekend?
I got to watch Iowa beat Washington. You know, the team just won the national championships, but still got upset by Iowa, who was the overall 7 seed in the tournament. It was a great game to watch, but I think that we saw a lot of other games like that. How about you, Ryan?
Yeah, one of the big teams of the tournament for me was Tufts, coming in as a number 16 seed, winning Pool D with wins over Cal, Iowa State, and Ottawa in pool play. After their slow start against Virginia, down 8-2 at half, they put together 7 great halves of Ultimate throughout pool play to come up and take the rest of the pool by storm.
Right, and we actually saw Tufts in the semis face off against Washington. Did you have an eye on that game as well?
Yeah, watched that entire game. Tufts lost 14-13 to Washington there, had to just on the goal line to win the game after coming back from being down 12-9. It was a heartbreaking loss for Tufts. I think today, if Tufts plays in this final against Oregon, they can win that game too.
Very interesting. So what makes you say that Tufts, who just went down to UW, you think would have had a chance against this Oregon team as well?
Absolutely. The way Oregon played today, punting the disc down the field, giving the other team, giving Washington lots of chances with the disc, that plays right into a team like Tufts' hands. Disciplined offense. They can work the disc 70 yards up the field, but Claudia Tajima knows when to punt it when she has to. They can play the field position and the possession game. I think Oregon would have given them too many chances with the disc to win this game today.
Very interesting. All right, Adam, you had your eye on Pool A this weekend. Tell us what happened there.
Pool A was absolutely crazy. A Texas team that came in seeded 4th ended up shocking Oregon in Oregon's last game of pool play, going on to win their game after that to take the pool. This Texas team has, other than maybe the Washington team we saw in the final, the best man defense of any team in this tournament, and they were able to add in some efficient offense and played great all weekend. They fell to UW in the quarterfinal. The other team was Ohio State. Ohio State, the 5 seed, opened up with a big win over Sonoma State, beat Wisconsin, and went into pre-quarters and then quarterfinals from one of the lowest seeds in the tournament. They played great. They had a very efficient offense with Cassie Swafford and Paige Soper moving the disc, dominating the game, and I think those 2 players are probably the 2 most dominant individual players I saw all weekend.
Very excellent. So we saw Ohio State face off against Michigan in the quarters. That was a very exciting game. Michigan definitely took that one handily, but Ohio State's showing that they have some excellent players. You mentioned Cassie Swafford and Paige Soper. Those girls really dominated the game. What were some other quarterfinals you saw, Ryan?
I had my eye on the Tufts UNC game, and like Paige and Cassie, Lindsay Lang and Shelley Cohen, dominant duo. They helped UNC come through against UCLA in pre-quarters, against UBC in pool play, but really Tufts was able to shut them down with hard straight-up marks, great man defense, and really flustering them into making lots of turnovers that we hadn't seen them make earlier in the weekend. So Tufts ran away with that one at the end with great defense on those 2, and like I said before, disciplined offense, working the disc up the field.
Now, Robyn, you had your eye on the Iowa-Oregon quarterfinal matchup. What happened there? Crazy game.
Yeah, I mean, Iowa came out on fire. They played a very good first half of Ultimate. I think the win played a huge factor for them. Iowa's a very strong team in the wind. Having played in the wind all season long. When the wind died down after half, Oregon came exploding out, and I don't think Iowa was really ready for that. But, I mean, we saw last year in quarters, Iowa and Oregon matched up. I don't think that Iowa had the depth last year to really put together a good game against Oregon. This year they went to double game point, and I think next year, based on the losses that they have, or I should say don't really have, there's a couple of key players that graduated, but so many young girls got experience for Iowa. I think that they could very well be a semis team next year.
Excellent. Well, we'll definitely keep an Iowa in the years to come. Adam, what happened in the last quarterfinal game?
Last quarterfinal was University of Washington coming up for the pre-quarters to play Texas. And this was a game where there was quite a bit of wind, but not so much that teams couldn't play offense. We saw the 2 teams take very different strategies at the beginning of the game. Washington pretty much completely playing a field position, hearing Danny Karlinski on the line telling his team, when I say jacket, everyone go deep. Texas tried to work this against Washington's zone. They actually moved this well, were able to break through the zone, but they were plagued by turnovers throughout the first half. They had a lot of drops that really hurt them. UW had an absolutely ridiculous game from Sarah Davis, coming out of nowhere for some huge layout blocks, throwing big hucks, and then Lucy Williams as well, who threw just great pull after great pull, rolling out the side of the end zone, trapping Texas on the line. Texas didn't really have an answer for that, and UW ended up winning 14-9.
Excellent. So just recap the quarterfinals. You guys might notice we didn't see any of the Southwest teams there. The Southwest, a region with 5 bids to nationals, so dominant throughout the regular season. None of those teams made it past pre-quarters. Robyn, I know you've got a strong opinion there. Why do you think that is?
You know, I think part of the parity that we see right now in the women's division has a lot to do with the way that a lot of the teams in the Midwest, in the Great Lakes, and in the Atlantic Coast, even in the New England region, they're really building strong programs. I think a lot of the Southwest teams, maybe with the exception of Sonoma State and Humboldt State here this weekend, have really strong B team programs and have some feeder programs to in the club scene. We're seeing a lot of these teams building B teams, going to more clinics. We're seeing a lot of the teams starting club teams. Teams, for instance, like Ohio State played together all club season with the club team Baja, and that brought more cohesiveness from those younger players on Ohio State. So even though players like Paige Soper and Cassie Swafford were very dominant, they had a good, strong supporting cast to run down hucks and to really see the field well offensively. So I think that's going to be a trend that we're going to see. There's going to be more parity, and some of these other regions are really going to come out strong.
Yeah, I think that club experience point is a good thing to talk about. You don't really see that so much in the Bay Area. With Fury as a number 1 team so dominant, you end up with 3 teams of women's sectionals, and you don't really have that opportunity to play together in the fall with players from other schools, getting that club experience against good teams. It's pretty much Fury. There's a second team this year. There was Zeitgeist, but that was mainly older players. You don't really have that opportunity to play against other good club players. It's pretty much school all year round with your girls, and then in the summer, you're off without that club opportunity.
Definitely. All right, so we just saw the finals. Little spoiler, the final score, Washington 15 over Oregon 7. Adam, take us through the first half of that game.
So UW opened up in a man defense. They were just dominant, taking away the disc. Oregon played really, really aggressively, looking to huck early, a lot of times hucking where there wasn't really anyone there. UW coach Danny Karlinski said they were trying to play a field position game, but they did a great, great job of not just throwing hucks to no one. They were throwing hucks where there was a receiver under it. Maybe there were some 50-50 discs, some jump balls, but they were able to complete a lot of hucks. Great plays from some of their receivers. They were able to move this, be patient in their end zone offense, and they rolled in the first half, taking the half 8-3.
Now, Ryan, coming out of the second half, we saw Oregon make a little adjustments, but obviously it wasn't enough to come back against UW. What did we see there?
The second half, UW started out in the man defense, playing really, really tight, denying the underneath. We saw Sarah Davis and Fennig getting some great layout Ds underneath, really forcing those Oregon handlers to jack it down the field. They were turning dumps and swings. They just weren't comfortable moving the disc around, and that's all on UW's defense there. In the first half, Oregon had some success on those first few points, throwing those big hucks to players like Almy, Young, Jones, right? Big 5'8", 5'10" receivers, able to get under those floaty discs and make some plays. Second half, you saw Jesse Schaffner getting the disc up the line, just lasering backhands down the line, maybe 8 feet off the ground, no receivers in sight. I think Oregon really missed Bailey Zanizer this game. She was on the sideline in sneakers. She played some yesterday. She's been kind of limited all season. But I think her experience, her field vision, and her ability to put those throws and make them at least catchable, at least give their receivers a play, Oregon doesn't struggle as much in the second half. UW started playing zone towards the very end. Really, that's when they started to run away with it. Oregon closed it to 8-6 out of the half, getting some breaks, but UW threw on a tall cup, tall zone, and Oregon just, their only response was to huck it, and we had Letourneau made some great plays from the deep position to keep possession for Washington, and then once they got the disc, breaking it down the field, running quickly, hitting wide open receivers with the Oregon defense just chasing after their women.
Well, the University of Washington sitting at the top of the rankings for the majority of this season, now proving to the nation that they are the best. Congratulations to the University of Washington Element and University of Oregon Fugue for a fantastic season and a great finals game here. For Sky Magazine, I'm Maya Ziv, here with Adam Lerman, Ryan Thompson, and Robyn Fennig at the USA Ultimate 2012 College Championships. Thanks for sticking with us this year. We'll see you next year.